There are only a handful of motorcycles that have a cult following as the KLR650, and it's not hard to see why. This dual-purpose bike offers riders exceptional flexibility, extending well beyond the confines of city streets and highways. Thanks to its comfortable design, off-road capabilities, ample fuel tank, and customizable accessories, the KLR650 is the perfect machine for a transcontinental adventure. During the press release, the tagline Kawasaki used for the first-gen KLR650 was "Triple Sports." The reasoning behind that was that the dual-sport motorcycles of that time were mainly focused on two things: off- and on-road performance. With the KLR, Kawasaki added another layer of capability, which is long-distance adventure touring. But we all know that that's just a marketing gimmick and any motorcycle can go on a long-distance tour. But the KLR just made it a bit easier. The 651cc single-cylinder engine had a compression ratio of 9.5 to 1, paired with a conventional 5-speed transmission and chain drive. The top gear, designed with long-distance highway cruising in mind, contributed to the bike's versatility. The frame, a steel semi-double cradle type, featured front forks raked at 28 degrees and a rear monoshock swing arm, providing a smooth ride over various terrains with front suspension travel of 220 mm and rear suspension travel of 200 mm. Unlike the dual-sport motorcycles of its time, the KLR featured a massive fuel tank capable of holding 23 liters of petrol, justifying its gimmicky triple-sport tagline. This enormous fuel capacity combined with its fuel-efficient engine gave the KLR an extensive range suitable for weekend adventures, global expeditions, and everything in between. And it did all that in a comfortable, grunty, quiet, and reliable way. Beyond all that, the KLR 650 had a distinct advantage: affordability, which helped KLR carve a niche for itself in the market, making it super popular among average Joes. In 1990, Kawasaki introduced a special edition of the KLR650 called the Tengai. In Japanese, the word Tengai means the end of the sky. The KLR650 Tengai was designed with a visual resemblance to the Paris-Dakar racer. Kawasaki positioned the Tengai to compete directly with its counterparts, such as the Honda Africa Twin, BMW's R100 GS, and the Triumph Tiger Explorer, all distinguished long-distance adventure bikes, and the KLR 650 Tengai aimed to offer similar excitement at a more affordable price point. Sporting a comprehensive front fairing seamlessly integrated into the fuel tank, reminiscent of the Honda Africa Twin, along with new side panels and an unsprung front mudguard, the Tengai is impressive for what it has to offer while remaining budget-friendly. In the late 90s, the KLR 650 underwent significant modifications, garnering both admirers and detractors. Primarily designed for off-road excursions, it deviates from the dual-sport nature of the very first KLR 650. Changes include a revamped body and a considerably smaller fuel tank with a 14-liter capacity, slightly more than half that of the first-gen KLR 650. Despite the reduced fuel capacity, the KLR 650's dry weight increased from the old model's 153 kilograms to 167 kilograms. In response to this weight gain, Kawasaki enhanced the braking system on the new model by incorporating twin-pot calipers. To improve handling, the front forks were enlarged to 41 mm and equipped with stiffer springs. The rear subframe saw modifications compared to the A model. Additionally, an enduring engine guard was introduced to align with its off-road focus. Steel rims were chosen for the wheels. The instrumentation of this model lacked a temperature gauge, featuring a straightforward over-temperature warning light instead. During the mid-2000s, the United States Army took an interest in the KLR 650. Fred Hayes of Hayes Diversified Technologies successfully modified the KLR 650 to run on diesel. The modification involved retaining the reliable 652cc single-cylinder layout while replacing components such as the liquid-cooled cylinder barrel, cylinder head, connecting rod, piston, fuel injection system, and exhaust. Additional enhancements included suspension upgrades, wider foot pegs, a bash plate, an AGM-type battery, a tubular steel brush guard, and a blackout switch for reconnaissance use. Named the M1030M1, this military motorcycle underwent thorough testing by the U.S. military procurement system before production commenced. While the exact number built remains unknown, these motorcycles, stenciled with a clear message on the fuel tank indicating their exclusive use of JP8/diesel, have garnered significant value in the market. Performance-wise, the Kawasaki KLR650 diesel may not be a speed demon, but its claimed top speed of 145 km per hour and the impressive fuel economy of 40 km per liter at 80 km per hour make it suitable for covering vast distances on a 23-liter fuel tank. It was in 2008 that KLR650 received its first major update. The improvements made to the KLR650 included enhanced brakes, featuring pedal-style rotors, and dual-pot calipers. The bike's handling was refined with 41mm forks, providing slightly less travel. A new D-section rear swing arm with the Unitrack single shock system, offering 5-way preload and stepless rebound damping, was introduced. The wheel spokes were strengthened with 4mm spokes, and the cooling system underwent improvements. Counterintuitively, reducing front suspension travel improved the bike's handling. The first-gen KLR650 was known for its colossal fork dive, adversely affecting braking. This issue was addressed by fitting 41mm telescopic forks to the 2008 KLR650 in contrast to the 38mm front forks and 228mm of travel on the older model. The reduction in travel resulted in better handling and more stable braking. The rear suspension travel on the new bike was set at 185mm. While the KLR650's engine remained largely unchanged, improvements were made, including tweaking the compression ratio to 9.8:1. It gave the KLR650 a slight bump in power to 41 bhp. The Keihin CVK40 carburetors continued to deliver fuel and air, and wheel and tire sizes remained consistent. From 2008 onwards, the KLR chugged along for another decade. During these 10 years, the KLR650 remained unchanged, except for some color options. But in 2018, after 32 years of production, Kawasaki had to pull the plug on the beloved relic of the dual sport. A lot of people thought that this was the end, and we wouldn't be able to have another motorcycle like this ever. And they were right, but only for about 3 years. By the end of 2021, Kawasaki reintroduced the KLR with fuel injection. It was still powered by the same old 651cc thumper, making about 40 bhp and 53 Nm of torque. Other than EFI and the optional ABS, the third-gen bike featured an LCD instrument cluster with a fuel gauge, 2 trip meters, and a clock. But for some odd reason, the tachometer and coolant temperature gauges appear to have been eliminated. The headlight is a long overdue LED unit. The suspension is stiffer front and rear. The front disc rotor diameter is up from 280mm to 300mm, and the rear disc is thicker for better heat dissipation. The handlebars are rubber mounted, and the rear subframe is now integrated into the main chassis, which is a bummer. But if we look at the bigger picture, there is nothing special about the KLR650. It's just an underwhelming adventure motorcycle. It is underpowered, a bit overweight, and doesn't have all the fancy gadgets. But if you have a passion for exploration, but don't have deep pockets to afford that, the KLR650 remains as one of the best choices for a dependable and unpretentious companion that you can count on.